Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Establish the Runs NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher to walk you through a massive 14-game slate in the NBA. The day before Thanksgiving, no games tomorrow. So, as a content reminder, we will not be on tomorrow. Hope everyone enjoys their Thanksgivings. We will be stuffed with NBA, not necessarily turkey. Mike, how are you feeling on this 14-game slate?
Doing great. Get some good news right at the top of the show as Joel Embiid is not going to play. Bet some Minnesota -4.5. We just hit a Rudy over, kind of hoping this would happen. So it's all coming up roses today. So yeah, happy on a really, 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 really busy day. You know, you and I, we love to work, but this is a day where we kind of wish we didn't work as much. But yeah, ready to get into it, man.
I had missed that Joel news, so that is bringing a little
Just
bit of a
literally just
brighter
happened as you were talking.
attitude to me. So that's great. That was part of the thesis of a bet that we just made. So that's always encouraging to get the actual thesis played out early. We'll see if Rudy can capitalize on it. That will certainly change the nature of the DFS slate, which we'll talk about later behind the paywall as well. But let's get to the injury stuff on this one. Let's start where the injury report starts with Denver and Orlando. A little bit disappointing here in the sense that not only did Jamal Murray get ruled out for tonight, he got ruled out for Friday as well, when there seemed to be some optimism kind of coming around on Jamal Murray's recovery. Zeke Naji listed probable here with a right ankle sprain. Nikola Jokic potentially in revenge mode after getting shut down by Jared Allen, then ejected by the officiating crew in Detroit. What are your expectations for the Nuggets tonight?
So I never really bought that report. I mean, the reporting from Woj, who is the best at what he does, said kind of end of the month. So that's a really early for a hamstring strain. That's usually you don't see people beat timelines on that. So just add that. So probably again, I think it's probably another week or so. But
Okay.
yeah, the role players kind of stepped up. Christian Brown's been really good. We saw them kind of go smaller with more Christian Brown after the Jokic ejection. That was interesting. So he's kind of back in the mix after it was kind of falling out. But yeah, I expect Jokic to go out there, maybe try not to argue with the refs as much. He's been running pretty unfortunate there. But yeah, I think we kind of know where we're at. Certainly a tougher matchup against the Magic defense has been really, really good, man. We've been talking about this for really the whole season, it feels like. So we'll see. It's definitely, I think Jokic has to put the team on his back here with the way that the Magic have been pressing up on ball handlers.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Yeah, it was interesting for Jamal just to like travel with the team on this 5-game road trip and then get rolled out real early for all the games.
Mhm.
Just kind of unusual for a player to travel if they're going to for sure be out. So let's move to the Orlando side of things, where they're still without Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter Jr. No other real rotation notes to cover here, I don't think. But do you have anything on the Magic tonight?
What took so long today? I woke up and I didn't see they filed their injury report. I was quite dissatisfied. But
They
besides
had
that,
filed
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. Uh, well, for they filed for their back to back yesterday, and then they
Yeah,
didn't
I
for
think they're just
today.
always filing a day in advance. I think
Yeah,
yesterday's
it was
report
very
was for
weird.
today. It's just always a day in advance for them.
Yeah, I'm waiting for they'll have Friday with bells on before football starts for sure. So yeah, pretty much standard here. We know Anthony Black's kind of locked in the starter. Suggs has been playing really well. Starting situation's been great. A 5x4 for Goga Batadze. Missing 3 steals for the holy 5x5 line. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, cool. This rotation's pretty much figured out here. They're going to be big. Goga's going to have to be real busy today. Not a guy who likes to defend in space. I think it's kind of a bad matchup for him. So I think his minutes could kind of get cut a little bit just with Jokic. I think Mo Wagner and even Jonathan Isaac, who actually makes a little bit more sense athletically to handle the Joker. So that's something to kind of watch. Tough to bake it into projections, but something, and it's tough to kind of bet on it on a big game slate. But expecting Jonathan Isaac, I think he could actually play a little bit more in the spot.
All right, let's move to Washington and Charlotte. On the Washington side, Denny Avdia, questionable. This is a midday downgrade with a non-COVID illness. That's always a concern. I know last year, we're not quite there yet, right? This is a little bit early for the flu season to really start to attack the NBA, but we see this happen usually in December and January. And last year, it seemed like every midday Q tag downgrade for illness was a missed game. We obviously don't have much of a sample yet on that this year. What are your expectations for Denny? And if he does miss, how will Washington aim to replace him?
Yeah, illness tags never good. Think he's probably sitting. We'll have him projections for sure, as we like to have a little bit more there. So yeah, quite obviously they're going to start Bilal Coulibaly. I think that they've been pretty much, every preseason game we saw him start. We saw him start for Gafford. Really, anyone in the whole front court, they'll start Bilal Coulibaly. So I feel pretty confident he'd be starting there. And yeah, that's kind of it. Maybe we see more Shamit, a little bit more Kispert. Maybe Johnny Davis gets in the mix. But the other noteworthy thing that happened in this game that they were kind of in until the end was Tyus Jones lost minutes. After the game, Wes Unseld said they wanted a little bit more size, so they went with kind of more as a pool point guard situation and kind of bringing in more winging lineups for Giannis and all the size on the Bucks. So that wasn't great for Tyus. I was actually playing like okay. Now it was a little bit weird, but yeah, just wanted to kind of note that. But definitely expect Bilal Coulibaly to get the start if Denny Avdia misses this game.
Coulibaly's been playing a bunch of minutes off the bench anyway. They've been pretty dedicated to getting him minutes. So let's say he does start. I mean, maybe his minutes go up from like the 27, 28 he's been playing, but really, he can't take on all of Denny's role. So who else benefits here in that situation? Is it Corey Kispert? Is he the guy who probably benefits next?
Kispert, Shamit, I'd say the two guys next to are kind of due. Yeah, and then maybe Johnny. We'd give Johnny Davis a couple spare minutes there as well, who's been dealing with this elbow thing since the preseason.
Okay, cool. Let's move to the Charlotte side of things. Their injury report fairly sticky. It's been almost 2 weeks since the original Terry Rozier questionable tag the day after the injury suffered, the left groin strain. He's still ruled out. Nick Richards still in concussion protocol here. He's out. No Frank Ntilikina, no Cody Martin, no James Bouknight, and no G Leaguers. What are your expectations for the Hornets tonight?
Yeah, I can't believe that that Rozier thing. It was so obvious he was going to miss time. But I digress. Yeah, the headline obviously is Miles Bridges gets the start, plays 45 minutes, hits a game-winning three, hits a big rebound, hit some free throws late as well to kind of almost ice the game. So he's going to start. And Steve Clifford said after the game, this was planned. It's based on his commentary. Sounds like they were planning on this for a very, very long time, meaning like weeks, to get Miles Bridges, warmed up to speed, make sure he was good to go, and then start him for this game against Boston. Feel pretty confident about that. They said they talked to PJ Washington. He was okay with it. Still got pretty good minutes out of PJ. Didn't close. They closed with their starters. And Mark Williams has been playing pretty good minutes here. The minutes cap's clearly off. Been playing pretty well. And obviously the best matchup. The Wizards, I think, are second to last in offensive rebounding opportunity against. All their interior stats are terrible. Obviously, number 2 in pace. These are the worst 2 defenses in the NBA. They both play fast. Like check every box you want to play deep into this game with a tighter rotation too, right? I mean, they basically ran 8, so with little minutes, even with overtime. So yeah, I think Miles is going to play a ton. Obviously, the matchup's a dream matchup here. LaMelo was my cover boy for matchups. LaMelo's playing a ton as well. Roll's been really good, shooting great, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, this is going to be a really exciting, this is, everyone's going to want to talk about Milwaukee and Boston and all these other cool, the Phoenix and Golden State. Nah, man, give me Wizards Hornets. That's the game of the day.
There needs to be a Tim Robinson, I think you should leave bit of Thanksgiving dinner with Mike Gallagher. Everybody talking about the great matchups in the NBA, and Mike Gallagher like passing the sweet potatoes and being like, "You guys see that Wizards game last night? Woo-hoo!"
Well, how cool a volley guarding LaMelo?
Guys, Nasir Little, he's taking a step. Trust me. You got a matchup with Portland. There's gonna be a garbage time. It's Nasir Little time. Oh man.
Don't get me excited for Nasir Little talk. It's coming. You guys be ready for Nasir Little talk. I got notes on it.
All right, let's get to Brooklyn and Atlanta. On the Brooklyn side of things, they're still without Ben Simmons, Dennis Smith Jr., Cam Thomas, all listed out tonight. No other Q tags on the injury report, so fairly clean here. But in the absence of Simmons, Dennis Smith Jr., Cam Thomas, that's a lot of guard, a lot of handling. How do you expect Brooklyn to look tonight?
Yeah, certainly a lot of Lonnie Walker at the bench, sticking with the starting lineup. Not much to add. The mids should be pretty solid here. They've been running them up pretty tight. Obviously, blowout kind of cut them down a little bit. So I think the mids are pretty secure. Should note that Nick Claxton was running short stints, and he still was, even after his return for a couple games. So maybe that extends a little bit. That would increase his minutes. Maybe he can get into the low 30s or something like that. It's been, there's really been no commentary that this is kind of the plan. So yeah, I think Claxton could play a bit more. Great matchup. Atlanta's rim defense is really, really bad from a volume standpoint. And their pace. I mean, we saw what their pace is like last night with the crazy game with the Pacers and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty good game environment there. And Brooklyn's kind of rested here, so it should be a pretty good spot for them.
On the Atlanta side, they did file an injury report that had nothing on it, so that was good to see. Just without their
Mhm.
G Leaguers today, really disappointing loss for them last night. They had a huge lead going into the third quarter. How big is a lead in a game that's putting up 300 plus points? I don't know. I don't know if the math works the same that a 13-point halftime lead is much, but it was erased very quickly by an incredible third quarter from Tyrese Halliburton. This is not the normal back-to-back situation simply because these guys were getting up and down the floor a lot of extra possessions. I do wonder how the legs will feel today. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on Atlanta with nothing else on the injury report today there?
Yeah, AJ Griffin is off the injury report. That's the only thing that's noteworthy with the illness, but he's out of the rotation anyways. I think Wes Matthews is kind of icing him. So, yeah, this is probably a spot. We talk a lot about this where you're in a back to back. We always see players get added into the rotation, so maybe they would add AJ and make him ninth or 10th. We probably would split that. I haven't looked at that yet, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Yes, I think that there's definitely some concern that the minutes don't get high after playing that. What a game,
Yeah.
man. That was just incredible game to watch.
Yeah, I think this is a spot we should probably err on the side of conservative, just given that we're always
Mhm.
projecting them so tight naturally. That second night of back to back, AJ Griffin potentially available. And we should know Wes Matthews wasn't listed on the injury report. It's a back to back for the old man, but they're only playing him like
Mhm.
eight to 10 minutes a night. So I think he can manage that, is kind of what they've come down to. All right, let's move to Miami and Cleveland. On the Miami side of the injury report, a lot of out tags. No Kevin Love due to personal reasons. No Nikola Jovic, no Tyler Hero, no Jamal Cain, no Cole Swider. Bam Adebayo probable, and probable tags for the Miami Heat are always a little bit concerning. This listing comes with left hip contusion. What are your thoughts on the Bam Adebayo probable tag? Is it something to worry about for tonight?
Should be good. He's had this tag a lot over the years, so I think he's probably good to go. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's made up in my head, but I feel like there are a lot of the probable tags this day of the calendar are a little more skeptical to me. So I think he's good. Obviously, it should be the same starting lineup here. I know put Orlando Robinson in Kevin Love's spot, who's out. So other than that, pretty straightforward. Jaime Hawkins just plays
You
so
oh,
much off the
you
bench,
you
man.
you think it's for sure Orlando Robinson, not Thomas Bryant?
I'm sorry. I meant to say Thomas Bryant. I
Okay.
slipped a little
Okay.
slip there. My
Okay.
bad. Yeah, my mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the way it should go. Jaime Hawkins is playing so much. Kyle Lowry playing like full first, full thirds mostly, and then barely playing because they just get Hawkins in there a little bit. They like that combination with Jay Rich as well. So, and then Duncan, man. I mean, Duncan's minutes have been so good. He did have some really good matchups playing the biggest 3-point funnel in the NBA, so not surprising he was lighting them up. Um, Decent 3-point funnel here against the Cavs. So I think Duncan's going to kind of keep it going there.
Yeah, the Heat, man, they are battling through as they always do. It's a lot of road games early in the season for their schedule. Jimmy didn't really look himself the first few
Hmm.
games. He still hasn't had like the big Jimmy games that we've come to expect over the years. Josh Richardson hasn't been like the huge acquisition that they had hoped. And here they are, they're 9-5. Duncan looks like he's taken a nice step forward. Bam looks like he's taken a really nice step forward. Jaime Jaquez Jr. looks great as a draft pick. They just always find a way, man. It's really impressive.
Hmm.
And the Kyle Lowry stuff, we had an under 8.5 points on him, and we had projected him for 27 minutes. He had 27 minutes at the end of the third, and I was like, oh man, this is going
Hmm.
to be bad. And they end up kind of running away in the fourth and burying him. But the range on Lowry, because he's playing like full first, full thirds, is really wide in the sense that if something happens to interrupt him playing the full first or full third, the minutes can crater down to like 18 to 22 some nights. But then if they let him play at all in the fourth, it can get up to like 33, 34. So just for like a really wide range of outcomes on Kyle Lowry each and every night. Okay, Cleveland side. Still no Donovan Mitchell. This right hamstring strain continues to linger. They are on the second night of back-to-back. Really impressive win. I mean, really impressive back-to-back wins for them at home against Denver, on the road in Philadelphia without Donovan Mitchell, without Isaac Okoro. They'll be without Dean Wade most likely today. He's listed doubtful. Without Karis LeVert last night, he's listed questionable with left knee injury management as the tag. Without Ty Jerome, Craig Porter Jr. was awesome last night. Jared Allen was phenomenal once again. I mean, the last two games of Jared Allen, and there were like some rumblings that Cleveland might be looking to move on from Jared Allen at points during the season to like unlock Mobley at the center spot. Man, did Jared Allen show how invaluable he is to this team in terms of their success on the court in these last two games. What are your expectations for this LeVert questionable tag and the rest of the Cavs tonight?
Yeah, LeVert injury management tag got rolled out pretty much right after warmup, so should be good. Should mention Donovan Mitchell didn't travel, as Lauren Jabara, the new TNT sideline reporter, who does a really good job. Shout out to her. Yeah, so I think LeVert starts partly because Craig Porter Jr. I think is like the new LeVert role. So you're basically putting LeVert into the starting lineup, kind of three guarded up. I think that makes sense. And then just don't cut, because if you put LeVert off the bench, you're kind of cutting into Craig Porter Jr.'s minutes, which I don't think you want to do. He's been that good. So yeah, I think they would start LeVert. You're asking a little bit, maybe too much. I don't know if they would really. I don't know who they could even go to guard Jimmy here. So yeah, I think that's kind of how they're going to have to go and just go three guard and kind of deal with it. Trust the core of their defense with Mobley helping, who's been playing really really well as well. So yeah, expect that starting lineup. Mentioned Craig Porter Jr., Sam Merrill probably in the mix. George Niang would play a decent bit, and they probably have to play Tristan just because they got to fill minutes there. And then we'll probably get Imani Bates in the mix as well, who could be a candidate to start. I don't know if they would want to do that. It sounds like a dangerous thing to throw him out there for Jimmy.
Similar notes here for Cleveland. Obviously, not the same pace and tempo of the game that Atlanta and Indy played last night, but overtime game on the road, short travel. Philadelphia to Cleveland's not long travel, but have to travel back, and your opponent is Miami. Like that's not a spot that I'm super excited about. Naturally, I do wonder. We've generally seen Bickerstaff really willing to just let the guys run and play a ton and not scale back. But I do wonder if we see a little bit of a letdown performance from Cleveland just naturally after the big win last night in the in-season tournament.
Should note one more thing. Darius Garland, my flag plant last night, who did pretty well. Bet some overs on him with the flags. He hurt his hand and looked kind of bad. Like he was really shaking it off. Had the trainer talk to him. Looked like he may come out, but he stayed in. Looked pretty much fine. He wasn't shooting it for the first like 5-6 minutes, but then he started to pour it on late. Obviously, you saw the big three late, and just what a baller that guy is.
Yeah. All right, let's move to Milwaukee and Boston, the game that all of Mike Gallagher's relatives will be talking about tomorrow. Damian Lillard upgraded from probable to available, and the tag changed here, I believe, as well, because I'm now seeing the listing as left oblique strain. Before it wasn't an injury management tag that we were dealing with.
No, he had oblique.
Okay. Marjon Beauchamp listed available with the ankle sprain, so they will get Beauchamp back. They're still without Jay Crowder. What are your expectations on how the Bucks look tonight?
Yeah, it should be good. Anyone who knows this show knows whenever the Bucks have a probable tag, at 1:30 they are gonna do one of two things: they're gonna upgrade him or they're gonna move him out. So I hope you hashtag 28 after gang. We're ready. We couldn't get any bets there, but that's when they rule people out with probable tags, with those new probable tags. So yeah, that's my valuable piece for the people. But yeah, should be good to go. Certainly concerned, right? I mean, oblique injury, that's the thing that has been sidelined before. We knew he played through a little bit, cost him, last year it was the calf, but before that, the other tanking thing was the oblique, had surgery on it. So little concern there. It was starting to play awesome, man. I mean, ever since he came back, they had 129 offensive rating in their last 5 games. So they've been freaking just crushing. Schedule help. They've had really soft matchups, but 129 against any NBA team is pretty good. So yeah, watching Dame's minutes, we're gonna have him pretty full, and then Malik Beasley's minutes come down a little bit with Beauchamp back in the mix. Connaughton's ceiling comes down a little bit. Maybe we don't see as much Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez overlap. Brook continues to play freaking great, man. Back to the shot blocking, screen and rolling, all that good stuff. And Giannis just unstoppable, as Adrian Griffin noted. Just an easy cover boy to pick for me in that game with 42, 13, and 8. So, yeah, they're kind of rolling. And Boston's defense has been slipping a little bit, still pretty good. But, yeah, obviously the second biggest game on the day.
Yeah, if we're gonna have the content team, turn our content into funny social clips, I could see a scenario of me as an 80-year-old man telling my children and grandchildren about Brook Lopez and what an incredible career that man has had, because it's got to be the most unique career that I've seen in the NBA in terms of going from a back to your basket post up scorer to a long 3-point bomber, a post up scorer who, by the way, like was known for not being able to play defense, to then a 3-point bomber who's like arguably defensive player of the year candidate, and doing all of this in his like mid to late 30s. It's just insane. Shout out to Brook Lopez. Okay, let's move to the Celtics side of things. Jason Tatum listed questionable here with a non-COVID illness. Any read on Jason Tatum's availability tonight?
Yeah, not sure on this one. They need him here. I mean, the fact that he played so well and they lost in Charlotte, is really just a credit to Charlotte. And Sam Hauser was terrible. That guy is so boomer bust. But yeah, don't know. The aforementioned Sam Hauser would probably, actually, I take that back. They would start. I would think they would start Horford here for the matchup. He would guard Giannis. So if Tatum misses, they would start Drew, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps, and Horford. Horford guarding Giannis. Certainly would see Hauser off the bench, as well. So yeah, yeah, tough for me to read these illness tags. That's kind of where we're at. So
Yeah.
well, maybe we get this before. We'll see. But he wants to play. This is obviously a huge game.
Shout out to Sam Hauser for replicating the exact stat line that I've put up in the 12 career pickup games that I've played of hoops. 1 for 9 from 3, no other stats, just doing wind sprints out there. That's me in a rec league hoops game as well. So shout out to Sam. Let's move to Toronto and Indiana. On the Toronto side of things, no Thaddeus Young tonight. Not really relevant, not in the rotation. They're on the second night of back-to-back. No other concerns here. Any notes on the Raptors?
No, I think we can kind of move on here. Just kind of keep an eye on the pace of this game. We'll see if they go smaller. They're pretty well equipped to do so. Really good matchup though, with the way Indiana is just so porous around the basket.
All right, Indiana side, G Leaguers listed questionable today. Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith listed questionable today. Nembhard with lower back soreness, and then Nesmith with a right wrist sprain. I would note that is a concerning injury, not just from an availability perspective, but for Aaron Nesmith, his primary value is going to be shooting, and a right wrist injury would have me concerned. He did shift into the starting lineup last night, although Indy was doing a lot of mix and match stuff. You talked about on the injury report show yesterday how they talked about wanting to get opportunities for Shepard and Walker. Shepard did get into the game last night. It is the second night of back-to-back here. This would seem to be a spot to potentially broaden out that rotation. What are your expectations for these Q tags and the rest of the Pacers tonight?
Yeah, I think Neesmith hurt his wrist. Like after a layup, he got fouled really hard and hit the stanchion. I don't know if that was the play, but I think that's when it was. And he played through it for, I don't know, 7, 8 minutes, I want to say. So I think he's playing, but I don't know. You hurt your wrist and it feels like crap the next day, and you're going to sit. So we'll see. Let's go to the starting lineup situation next. Talked about this yesterday, on the DFS show that, I thought Neesmith was going to play a lot because he needed on ball defense. I didn't think they would start him, but he actually picked up fouls early. So he was headed for a huge minutes role. So commentary from Rick Carlisle saying that they were kind of spitballing and it was a matchup thing. That's me kind of paraphrasing. So I don't know, but I think Obi off the bench worked. He played really, really well. Certainly when you're scoring 157 points as a team in a really up-tempo game, that's going to help you quite a bit. So I don't know if we could glean anything there. But I don't know, man. I mean, the fact that you score 157, why would you change your lineup, right? All the quotes, oh, they're going to be pros, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Ben Mathurin was really good off the bench. Was really aggressive driving. He had his aggressiveness back that wasn't really there for most of the season. So I kind of think they start this out there again. You could use the on-ball defense. Nesmith probably going to guard, I would guess. He would guard Pascal, I would say, and then Bruce Brown would probably get Scotty. So I think it makes sense. So I think they would kind of go the same situation. Good matchup for Buddy Hield as well with them 3-point shooting. The Raptors give him up a little bit. So yeah, expect the same starting lineup, assuming Neesmith goes. If not, then probably got to go back to Obi.
Should also note that a lot of OB's minutes down the stretch were at the center spot. So that might be
Yeah.
something to watch in terms of how it impacts Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, and Miles Turner. Miles Turner was my flag plant last night. I was feeling really good about it until he did not play at all in the fourth quarter. And so in a game that they score 157, Miles comes up just shy of the double-double in only 25 minutes of work. But that's something to watch. I don't think you can get away with this Obi Toppin at center stuff against a lot of normal starting lineups in the league. But the Hawks are one that you can kind of get away from it, get into it with, because Obi just has to be, the role guy, verticality defender for Clint Capella or Okongwu. He doesn't really he's not forced to back to basket defend in space, all those different things. And then on offense, he can stretch them all out. Different matchup tonight, but it is something to keep an eye on in terms of projecting them forward. This Raptors team is also another one that, it probably could work okay in terms of a matchup against. So it's something to keep an eye on with Obi Toppin, who's had a difficult start to the season, and getting benched last night felt like a low point, and then immediately in game it felt like a little bit of a resurrection for Obi.
Yeah. And two more things to note as well here. Isaiah Jackson leapfrogged Jalen Smith in the second half, was really good. Had the 4 blocks in 12 minutes and made a really big impact in the game. Was kind of when they were making the big run. So we'll see. It was quite clear that Jalen Smith was the guy, and it was a really big pull. And then, if Neesmith's out, who's the backup 4 here? Is it going to be Jarris Walker, or is it going to be Jordan Nwora, or are they going to go smaller? We saw Ben Shepherd sneak in there when there were some fouls. So that's a really tough situation to handle, which we'll make an if-then for that. But, I don't have a great feel for that. I kind of think it's Jarris, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Nwora or neither.
Chicago at Oklahoma City. On the injury report for Chicago, Zach LaVine, probable right foot soreness. Alex Caruso, probable left toe strain. Patrick Williams, probable left finger sprain. Any notes on these Bulls tonight? Any concerns of these probable tags?
Nope. Pretty good. I mean, Zach plays through a lot of stuff. Certainly the trade rumors, everyone's going to want to be devil's advocate, yada, yada. So I think they're good. Cruz has been listed with this toe thing. Reporter asked Billy Donovan about a starting lineup change, and he basically said not yet, but, it's kind of inception, the thoughts in his head now. So we'll see if he changes. So keep an eye out for a starting lineup. I do think they keep it, but, hey, we took Alex Caruso over just, but we were projecting him to start, but a little bit of equity if they do change it. And I think Kobe White could actually be a candidate to get benched here. Not necessarily, again, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's on our watch list.
All right. Oklahoma City side, J-Dub is still out. He's the only player listed on the injury report, out with that left hip strain. Any notes on the Thunder?
No, it'll be your guy, Cason Wallace. He'll get the Zach LaVine matchup. Lou Dort will get DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, good to go. We'll see how Shea handles Caruso and these other guys. But yeah, expect these guys to play pretty big minutes. Obviously, really light blowout win for them in the last game. And yeah, could see a pretty good minutes out of the starting group with, Aaron Wiggins will sneak in there. Jay Will, and Cameron Shook be most of the main guys there. Isaiah Joe, I forgot to mention too. Sorry.
Clippers and Spurs. On the Clippers side, no Brandon Boston Jr., no Mason Plumlee, nothing else listed on the injury report. Any notes on the Clippers, who are undefeated in the Russell Westbrook off the bench era?
Yeah, they're back now. So they're back when they faced the Spurs, who are just terrible defensively in many aspects. But yeah, pretty straightforward. The only note I have is Daniel Tice was really freaking good. Again, matchup a big factor there, but he was on a minutes limit according to Ty Lue, and he still had that kind of impact. So yeah, especially with Zubac dealing with a back injury, this could be a pretty close split. So just something to keep an eye on at the spot.
All right, Spurs injury reports are usually full. Today, there's just one name on it. It's a questionable tag for Devin Vassell. What are your expectations around Devin Vassell's availability tonight?
Yeah, good to go here. Said he's going to play. Now, anyone who's followed this closely has probably known, or maybe if you do, good on you, because not a lot of people would know that they bring Vassell off the bench a lot. So when he's returning from injury, so that's something we're going to watch here. We'll see if they go with Champagne, who hasn't really done anything to earn it. They had like a players only meeting, blah, 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 blah. They're playing terribly. So I don't have a great read on how he starts. And we saw the last time he returned from this injury, he was really short on minutes. It was kind of a blowout. I think it was in New York. So we'll have a minutes limit on him, especially since he's aggravated this groin injury. So yeah, that's something to watch, which, we'll cut a little bit down of Jetty Osman, Malachi Branham, Doug McDermott. Those guys to be affected a little bit, but definitely expecting a minutes limit for Devin Vassell in his return.
All right, Memphis and Houston. Memphis injury report full as it has been all year long. No Steven Adams, no Brandon Clark, no Luke Kennard, no Jake LaRavia, no John Morant, no Marcus Smart, no Xavier Tillman. What do we have left for the Grizz?
Well, we have a new starting lineup, and shout out the underdog. It's funny because the Grizzlies put out this injury notification on Jake LaRavia, and I noted in our Slack. I was like, God, we get these Memphis injury updates like every day, and then I saw Underdog did the I'm not reading all that. Sorry that happened for you. Happy for whatever, which was pretty funny, and I loved it. I love the edge there, but that's all I'm going to say. Santi Aldama, I mean, my God, guy starts at the 4, plays some 3, plays some 5, plays 39 minutes against a really good defense, and goes completely ham. He's going to start. He is a bona fide pickup in fantasy if he's out there. Just because, as you said, they don't have anybody, man. They just have no depth. He's going to play 5. He's, if Jaren Jackson gets into foul trouble, the minute ceiling is huge. I mean, the guy just played 39 minutes. So he's, again, red hot pickup, especially when, Desmond Bane gets, kind of a tougher matchup here. So, yeah, expecting mostly the same situation here for these guys.
Santi's their third best player right now, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably not even close. I don't even know who would be in. Bismack would be, I guess. To mention Vince Williams. Vince Williams is pretty good. Maybe he's up there.
Yeah, I think Bismack would be the next candidate. But man, it is things got sad real quick for Memphis. Real quick this year. All right, Houston side of things. Still no Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore on G League assignment. Any notes for the Rockets tonight?
Nope. Just I like the spot for them a lot. I thought about betting it just because they against straightforward offenses, they've been pretty good. Just the Warriors gave them a lot of handful with their split actions and all that stuff that they run, and they just were a little bit out of sorts. But they've got the size and physicality and on-ball defense to slow down a lot of teams. Dylan Brooks' revenge game. After what was the phrasing that Sham said? Basically, don't let the door hit you in the butt or whatever. That's not what he said, but you catch my drift. So yeah, haven't bet Houston yet, but I kind of want to. I think they kind of blow them out, and then we'll see. Pretty much the same rotation. Tari Easton's back. We saw him get managed for the back-to-back, so he'll be back in the mix to cut down. Probably Lando goes bye-bye. He's just done nothing to earn minutes. Reggie Bullock will go bye-bye, so mostly the same spot here. And we've been seeing huge minutes out of Fred VanVleet.
Philadelphia and Minnesota would be the premier game on this slate from my vantage point if it weren't for the schedulers who decided to make this a back-to-back, which has resulted in Joel Embiid missing this game. They will also be without Kelly Oubre Jr. So, Mike, I know it went down in my ratings, but I know it went up in your ratings because I assume this means it's Paul Reed night.
It is Paul Reed night, and it couldn't happen on a worse night against the best paint defense in the NBA. Minnesota just snuffing out all sorts of interior stuff. So, yeah, quite rough. We'll see a little bit of Mo Bamba behind him, but the commentary from Nick Nurse going into yesterday, they want to play him more. He's going to get all he can eat. Now, I don't know what kind of buffet they have at Minnesota, but it's not. Well, I should mention Minnesota PR tweets out their media menu.
They do. So you will know. You will know exactly what kind of buffet they have.
Yeah, he could eat it up there, but it's gonna be slim pickings. Probably supermarket sushi kind of stuff. It won't be ideal, but expect him to play all he can.
And then, I mean, from an offensive role perspective, Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, those are the guys most capable of fulfilling the offensive obligations in the absence of Joel Embiid. Do you think that changes this other spot in the rotation at all, the Nico Batum spot? Because Nico Batum is a player that is really valuable when there's other, key pieces to soak up all of the usage and he can just space the floor and do all the little things. That's not going to be as much the case tonight. The challenge is the other options that they have are kind of more of the same, unless Marcus Morris. Like that's the one guy
Yep.
that could like soak up a little bit more offense. Do you think we see Marcus Morris tonight? How like what do you think the other spare parts of this rotation look like on the second end of a back-to-back?
Yeah, probably Springer. I think he would be a guy that I'd look at. You get a little more creation. He's been playing pretty well when called upon. So I think that'd be the sneaky guy to go to. Tobias is capable of guarding bigger players. I think he's guarded Cat a couple times before. So that'd be something to watch. But yeah, I'm with you. That's kind of funky to have. He's going to start, I think, but you could see the bottom kind of fall out here. But they need the shooting, right? Like I mentioned, this interior defense is too good. So I think, but so from that aspect, like maybe it's just the Maxi show, which makes a ton of sense. So wouldn't go too
Yeah.
nuts, but wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more Springer, maybe a little bit more Cove, and those guys.
Normally, you referenced the Maxi show. Normally, this would be a spot you'd be pretty concerned about the Maxi show because of Jaden McDaniels, but he is
Mhm.
out with the right ankle sprain, going to be out a few weeks here. Do you think Maxi draws the Anthony Edwards? Do you think they, you know, like how do you think they shift the defense in the absence of Jaden McDaniels? And how do you think the starters change in the absence of Jaden McDaniels?
I would be pretty shocked if it's not Nikhil Alexander Walker. We saw Nikhil Alexander
Hmm.
Walker in the playoffs pick up and guard Jamal Murray pretty well in that first series. So yeah, Chris Finch said that it's going to be him most nights. So yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if it wasn't Nikhil Alexander Walker. Finch did mention that in certain matchups they will go to Kyle Anderson, who they have started before in that jumbo lineup there, but they really like him off the bench as like a sitting presence. So as a, yeah, I think Nikhil could play a lot here. Really, their most capable defender for Maxi. Sure, Ant Edwards can handle him a little bit, but I think they want Nah to handle this. A little bit of Troy Brown off the bench. Shake Milton's minutes are a little bit safer now. He doesn't have to share the point guard role with Nikhil, who sometimes would fill in there behind Conley. A little bit higher minute ceiling for Conley as well, with the wingy rotation thinning out as well. And yeah, Cat's been just crushing, man. I mean, his defense has been really, really good, shooting the lights out again, aggressive, putting the ball on the floor a little bit. So yeah, the Wolves are just cruising, man. They're playing really well, and I got money on them today, and it usually goes poorly for me. So hopefully they can win by 5 or more.
All right, let's move to Sacramento and New Orleans, the game environment that we were all excited for on Monday night slate that underwhelmed as the Pelicans blew out the Kings. The Kings injury report is a little bit more full today. Questionable tags on Chris Duarte, Trey Lyles, Keegan Murray, and Sasha Vezenkov. Keegan Murray not spotted at shoot around. We got a starters jersey report from Underdog. What are your thoughts on the starters report jerseys? What are your thoughts on the Kings tonight?
Yeah, Duarte hurt his thumb. Looks like he's going to be out there. Yeah, Keegan was hurt pretty bad. Pretty surprised they didn't just rule him out, but it's Rozier all over. Well, not Rozier bad, but pretty sure he's not playing. Trey Lyles also on the mend here, could be coming back. He's been listed as questionable for a bit, questionable today. I think he's coming back. He's been doing some pregame stuff and all that, so I think he's back. Yeah, we'll see Sasha possibly get in the mix as well. Maybe not. Maybe they do go smaller. Obviously, Zion completely wrecked them early. Mike Brown was asked about how they could stop Zion, and his answer was ask him not to play for their next game. So yeah, we'll see how they handle it. I don't know. I mean, I guess that means Harrison Barnes is going to handle him. Duarte's going to be on BI. That's how I guess they would draw that up. But yeah, a little bit of Kessler Edwards on top of maybe more Harry B. But if Trey Lyles is in there, that would be pretty helpful from a spacing and offensive standpoint.
Also, from a size standpoint, going up against
Hmm.
Zion. I mean, Trey Lyles is one of the few guys that they have size-wise now. Good luck if you have not played NBA basketball for a few months. Hey, step right in and let's guard Zion. But I think that is something that he would be tasked with in the limited minutes that he would potentially play if he's able to go tonight. Let's move to the New Orleans side. No Trey Murphy, no CJ McCollum, no Matt Ryan or Darren Sebron, who is a G Leaguer, out, as well as EJ Liddell. They have a questionable tag on Larry Nance Jr., who missed last game. In his absence, Cody Zeller feasted on the second unit of the Kings. What are your thoughts here on Larry Nance Jr.'s availability tonight and how the Pelicans rotation shakes out. Jose Alvarado not listed on the injury report today after coming out clean of his first game back.
Yeah, should be good with Larry Nance. Went through full practice yesterday. Little bit on the front end of the timeline, but looks like he's going to be back out there, probably picking up most, if not all, the Valanciunas stuff to make Zeller go away. We'll see if Jeremiah Robinson Earl moves into a little bit of a 4 spot. But yeah, they're going to stick with the starting lineup with Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, and Zion. Somewhat surprisingly, they put Dyson Daniels on De'Aaron Fox early because they wanted to have him pick up the ball a little bit sooner and just basically take Herder away. So if they run that again, maybe bet some Herder unders, just something if you want to kind of play that. Don't bet against the guy Herb's going to guard. But they could change their look too. Alvarado back looked pretty good. Minutes limit was on. Maybe plays a little bit more today. Najee Marshall played a bunch. Kind of expected. We expected him to play a little bit more here. So yeah, those guys they're getting healthy. CJ is also getting a little bit closer, starting to do some stuff. Still no timeline yet. And then Trey Murphy's got to be back soon, man. This is kind of the 10 to 12 week window that they had. So yeah, it sounds weird that the Pelicans are getting healthy, and then just a complete domination from them, especially in the third quarter. This Kings just got housed for full on garbage time.
Have you heard any reports on Trey Murphy practicing drills? Have you heard? I haven't seen anything on him.
No, but he's right in the mix. I remember we did when we did the adjustment on the injury. I had him for today to return. I was like, oh, he's if the timeline says anything, he's back the game before Thanksgiving. So it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it's coming. If we haven't heard anything on it, that's usually not a great sign. But hopefully, we hear something soon. He's been straight listed out most of all the year. There haven't been any real updates. All right, let's move to Golden State and Phoenix. Draymond Green still suspended. Gary Payton the second upgraded to questionable today with that left foot strain. Any news or notes on the Warriors and your expectation on if Gary Payton returns tonight?
Yeah, not sure on GP2. Foot injury looked pretty bad, was ruled out pretty early, so it sounds like he's going to be back. Usually the Warriors list questionable as guys that should have a decent chance to return, but it's Gary Payton, right? The guy's hurt a lot, so I think he could definitely miss, especially the way he plays, puts himself in harm's way a lot. I think Chris Paul starts, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bench him to get more size out there to handle Kevin Durant, which possibly means Kuminga's music, or it could mean GP2 if he's healthy enough to guard Booker, and then Wiggins would guard Durant. We'll talk about the Phoenix side. That's obviously assuming Durant's in. And then, the Dario Looney split's been pretty much even. They've been going to Dario big, in big spots as well. It's a little bit of Trace Jackson Davis. Moses Moody is supposed to play more. So, this time last week, we're like, oh, Pods is going to play more. And now we're like, oh, no, now Moody wants to play more. The Steve Kerr tango that we always are dealing with. So, I think that's kind of where we're at. No Kojo, obviously. They're not going to play him when they have both their point guards out there. Wiggins is kind of back. We got real lucky on an under. We look like we were dead. Dude banks in a 3, and we look like we were cooked, but completely froze out for 4 minutes. But Wiggins is playing really well. Minutes are back as well. So, I think the Warriors, despite their 6-game losing streak, are trending in the right direction again. I should actually also mention, you see Steph Curry's 35 minutes, cursed it after the game. They had to get this game, so they went to Curry and upped his minutes. And I think they probably want to get this one, too. This is a pretty important game for them.
Yep. They get Phoenix on the second night of back-to-back here. Phoenix is not filed yet. I would expect that at the 3:30 Eastern mark, perhaps the 4:30 Eastern mark. We get a first filing on them. I have noted during the course of this week, during this show, our podcast, that this feels like it could be a rest spot for Kevin Durant, but also, it's a game against Golden State. It's a national TV spot. Like, you would think, maybe not, but it was strange to see in a game that was largely in control, them go up to 37 on KD last night. So my antennas are up. The props market antennas are up on all guys because they've got really inflated lines for Kevin Durant, for Devin Booker right now, assuming that there's going to be something that's going to drop here. So we don't have an injury report to go off of. What's your intuition say about the Suns tonight?
Yeah, man. I want to get the exact number and be precise because they were real late to pull the plug. So let me get what the score was and all this because it was kind of nuts. They didn't pull guys until Booker's still in. Where are we at? Oh yeah, there's 30 seconds left in the game. Oh, there we go. So that's crazy, man, that they kept him out there for that long. So they got a full minutes. You see all these heavy minutes out there. So you mentioned it. They definitely could sit someone. I don't really have much else to say. If it's Booker, they probably would start maybe a Kogi. They might not. As promised, Nazir Little talk. Frank Vogel talked him up after the game. Said he's been doing everything to earn more minutes. So I think he's kind of out there. We'll see if he can kind of maybe this was a hint that they're going to sit Kevin Durant as well, because he sounded pretty confident Nazir Little was headed for a big role today. So yeah, we're kind of speculating on this one. Don't have any concrete information. Obviously, Vogel didn't give us anything last night other than the context of this heavy minutes playing a big role. Blah 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 blah. But and again, like they want to win this game, so I think we got to go with the expectation that the guys are going to play.
Yeah, and I think it's fair. I just would note this is not just a back-to-back. This is the third game in 4 nights, and the first game of those 3 was a double overtime game that Kevin Durant played 47 minutes. So I just be cautious here. Even if we get like a probable tag on these guys, I would still be cautious and have my my antennas up in terms of what we could get from Phoenix tonight, because this is a tough schedule spot for them. All right,
Yeah.
Utah.
To put the numbers
Portland.
on it, it was 120, 107, 40 seconds left. Like what? Like come on, 13-point game. You're gonna wait that long when you're on a back to back. So that would be evidence of like, okay, maybe they are gonna sit him here. So because why wouldn't I don't know? Like you got to have more confidence in your guys to cover that one. But anyways,
the other thing that we should note, right, is that they got to come up with an injury if they're going to sit both of Durant and Booker, because Booker is not out of the weeds either on this, having just returned from an injury. They were having him on like an injury management tag when he was originally kind of listed and coming back. He was also in that double overtime game where his minutes were extended, not to the 47, but they would have to come up with a legit injury tag to avoid scrutiny from the league for one of these 2 guys. So just something to note there. I think it's more likely, if anything happens here, that Kevin Durant would sit than Devin Booker personally. But we'll see.
Yeah, Booker's been hurt. Booker has that calf, so I would say it's pretty close. I don't really have a lean. I would actually push back. I would say Booker just because he's coming off a calf strain.
Yeah. And Jeff knowing this, that Phoenix had a big incentive to run up last night. We talked about that on the show, but it was the chances that mattered were pretty thin in terms of the in-season tournament stuff. It might matter for a wild card spot. Maybe that'll be the path, but them winning their group was like really, really thin. Let's go to Utah and Portland. Utah on the second night of a back-to-back here at Portland as well. They both did not file. What do you think we should be on the lookout for from the Utah side?
Nothing. I don't really think we got anything going on here. They got completely smoked last night. So it should be the same starting lineup. The guys are pretty fresh. County George didn't get garbage time, luckily for us, with an under on him. So yeah, mostly the same situation. Chris Dunn's out of the rotation right now. Yeah, that's kind of it.
You're at 7 last night. I did not stay up and watch this game because I was feeling the 4 a.m. wake up call for travel day yesterday. I woke up and I saw the box score and was like, oh, okay. What happened there? Is your 7 a potential like possibility in matchups against opposing bigs if they're struggling defensively, or is this just all blowout time for Yurts?
All blowout. Yeah, he just came in mid third, and that was I think that was it. I don't think they took him out. So this game was over. Like we had an Anthony Davis under because we were banking on garbage time, which we got.
Yeah.
It's just Anthony Davis just completely killed them. Oh my god, he beat us in like 20 minutes. It was just a complete. And this is a story, man. Like their interior defense is that bad. So, this is, if you're if you're on the West Coast, you're on a 9 to 5, and you can't watch the game of the day of the Wizards Hornets. This is for you. This is another good bad game.
Portland also second night of back-to-back. I would expect to see a tag, if not a full ruling out, on Malcolm Brogdon after he returned last night. The minutes were managed for Malcolm Brogdon. It was a little bit concerning because he kind of got a last stint in the first half that suggested maybe he's trending towards 28, but then they cut him back in the second half and kind of capped him at 25. Any other notes here? We did see the DeAndre Ayton revenge start to play out early in the game. He played really effectively and aggressively early in the game. Any other notes on what we could anticipate with the injury report for Portland, who has also not filed as of yet?
Yeah, Broad he better not play. Thought he was going to kind of miss. Yeah, real strict minutes limit. They were running him 6 minute stints. It was quite clear that that was the plan. So they basically ran him 4 6s, a little bit of 6 and change to get him to 25. But yeah, he better not play. I mean, you can't play a dude and that you're trying to trade apparently. So yeah, I think he's out. That would put Skylar Mays back in the mix. Jamari Bouye would probably get in there. I don't know. We saw his minutes get cut, and they went with Point Shane, which they might do again. So don't have a great read on that situation if he would be out. Yeah, Do Up Reith again was over Moses Brown. Moses Brown got the garbage time. We'll see if maybe that flips. It's not like Reith has been that great. He's been actually okay though. And then yeah, that's kind of where we're at here. Really good matchup for Jeremy Grant, who last time they played he got into foul trouble. So I think it could be a really big spot for him.
All right, Dallas and the Lakers, last game of the slate. Dallas side, Seth Curry listed questionable, Maxi Kleber out, no other injury notes there. Seth Curry's been kind of fringy in terms of in the rotation this season anyway. Any other notes on Dallas tonight?
Yeah, starting lineup watch could be on alert here. We saw them pull Derrick Jones Jr. out at half, and they went with Josh Green. After the game, Jason Kidd had noted that a lot of teams have been playing the put your big on Derrick Jones Jr. and then put a wing on Derek Lively, and that's kind of why they did that. And it seemed like he's going to do it again. So I kind of think that Josh Green's going to be back in the starting lineup over Derrick Jones Jr. Not confident, but certainly on red alert. Matchups a little bit less likely. Like they're going to put AD on Lively, so they may not, that reason why he did it may not translate here, but they may want to do that in advance of other stuff to get some more continuity and all that. So that's the only thing we're watching here.
I think I guess the Lakers' option for a wing, it would be Torian Prince if they went that route, right? Torian Prince on Lively if they chose to defend that same strategy. It's possible. I think they did learn some things in the Denver series, right? Of having AD off ball as the helper instead of on ball as the primary guy was a little bit more effective for them. So it's possible. And I was going to say, tougher matchup to do it against the Lakers with LeBron, but Grant Williams is going to get the LeBron assignment. So that's not really a big deal for, Derrick Jones Jr. in terms of what he brings. So I agree with you. I think we're going to see Josh Green in the starting lineup tonight. On the Lakers side, they have not submitted yet on the second night of back-to-back. They were able to get their guys in and out relatively quickly last night. AD to 29 minutes, LeBron just 24 minutes. So I think we're all good here, but we will see Cam Reddish on the injury report, only 5 minutes, was removed from the game. Would expect him to miss tonight. What are your expectations for Cam Reddish and the rest of the Lakers?
I believe he got ruled out while we were talking. Okay. He wasn't playing. He was hobbling. He couldn't even barely walk to the locker room. So no surprise there. It was Max Christie picking it up after the game. Darvin Ham said that Max Christie's going to get minutes. So, yeah, we know they like this double wing lineup. I think they're going to keep Austin Reeves off the bench, who got a lot of garbage time yesterday, which was interesting. So, yeah, expecting a starting lineup of D'Angelo Russell, Max Christie, Torian Prince, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Certainly the light minutes was huge here to keep them suppressed at 24 for LeBron. That's just wonderful. So, in a game they probably want to get here, Dallas has been playing pretty well. Lakers playing well also. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. A little bit more minutes. We'll probably get a little bit more overlap from Reeves and D'Lo. That was a big story coming in. The previous two games before last night, it was 0 and 2 minutes of overlap for Reeves and D'Lo. So that opens things up a little bit more. Rui Hachimura also benefits. They obviously need the on-ball defense. How much are they going to trust Max Christie in the spot? So, yeah, this is an interesting spot. Prince is probably going to guard Luka, and then Max is going to probably have to guard Kyrie, so possibly a Kyrie kind of night.
All right. That'll do it. We got in under an hour today to 14 games, so take that, Justin Fan. Yeah. We'll see if Fan returns for Friday's edition to push us out. But this is a reminder, no NBA injury report analysis show tomorrow because there are no NBA games tomorrow. So we will see you all on Friday. As always, if you want to see more of us before Thanksgiving hits, you can hop on into the DFS in-season package, and you will find myself and Gary Hartman breaking down tonight's 14-game slate behind the paywall at 5 o'clock Eastern. You'll also get access to Mike Gallagher's matchups column that comes out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You also get top plays 6 times a week, those live shows 5 times a week, and full stat projections for every single game that takes place this NBA season we've got you covered with an incredible team of projections analysts working around the clock to make sure that we have everything as dialed in as possible. That flows through to our props package, which we did increase the price to $59.99 last week. If you're interested in more information about the props package, please read the FAQ. It's very important to understand and have the right expectations going into the props package. As always, if you enjoy the content that we are putting out here on this channel, please consider subscribing to this channel, get notifications whenever we go live. And of course, smash, hold down firmly, press gently, caress softly, whatever you'd like to do with that like button, that's on your terms. But I'd like you to hit it in some way, shape, or form so we can help feed the algorithm. It helps feed our families. And around these holidays, we need to be fed to keep feeding you the NBA injury information analysis you need to make your spread bets, prop bets, and your DFS lineups. So everybody enjoy the Thanksgiving, feed that algorithm, feed yourselves. Lots of NBA to get stuffed with tonight. We'll see y'all on Friday. Nom, 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 nom. See you then.